Okay, Alhamdulillah, I'm doing okay, just okay. So, today is a very, very interesting topic, and it might be very fruitful to you if you try to understand it. Okay? So, by the end of today's presentation, you shall become familiar with the concept of ego defense mechanisms. And I would be talking about some common defense mechanisms and a little light on how can we work through these defense mechanisms. So, we have an inner reality. We have our inner psychic life containing different thoughts, feelings, impulses, drives, okay, and so many things are happening in our inner life, and at the same time we have an outer reality, and so much is happening on our outer reality, like uh, outer reality like your exams, coronavirus, and so much, is happening outside. So there's an inner reality and there is an outer reality. Please focus on the lecture, okay? It would be a bit different from your book. So please focus on the lecture. The big questions are that why I may not want to see the reality as it is. Sometimes the reality is not that pleasant. And I would not like to see the reality, and I would like to distort it. And I would like to fit the reality as I want to see it according to my wishes. And if I do that, if I don't see the reality as it is, then what could be the possible consequences for that? So I cannot see the reality because as it is, because I have limitations of my knowledge, limitations of my physical senses, the way I process the information in my brain, and the way I tolerate my different feelings. So I have limitations of all these things. The problem occurs when reality is painful, unacceptable, and intolerable. So, what to do when the reality is not according to my wishes, is painful? Just like this situation that the college is closed, studies are disrupted, and there is danger of, coronavirus. So reality is painful. So what can we do in such a situation? So when the reality is painful and unacceptable, so in that situation, our ego uses unconsciously various defense mechanisms which were described initially by Sigmund Freud and were later on elaborated by his daughter Anna Freud. So our ego uses various psychological defense mechanisms. So reality becomes intolerable because we are having so much conflicts in our mind or outside, and we are having various feelings like anxiety, shame, guilt, sadness, anger, etc. And these defenses are psychological strategies that are unconsciously used to protect a person from anxiety arising from unacceptable thoughts and feelings. So, unacceptable thoughts and feelings arising from these conflicts and problems leads to the use of these defenses by ego. So, ego uses these defense mechanisms to make the reality, make the feelings tolerable. And if you remember, we studied Sigmund Freud theory of structure of mind and topographic structure of the mind. Okay, so topographic theory of the mind by Freud says that mind consists of a conscious part. Okay, we are aware of certain thoughts, feelings, and impulses, and there's a pre-conscious part, material just beneath the surface of awareness, and there's large unconscious part, which is about 73% of the mind. Okay, so this is the topographic model by Freud. And Freud described the structure of mind as it, which occupies the unconscious mind. It is totally unconscious. And superego, which contains our conscience and ego ideal, and this is partly conscious and partly unconscious. And ego is the part which is mostly conscious, but it is also a little unconscious. And ego is the part which deals with the reality. So there's a conflict between super ego and it wants immediate wish fulfillment, while super ego tries to modulate it, and there's a conflict, and ego has to use different defense mechanisms. So these psychological defenses start developing in infancy and childhood. Initially, these are immature, and if the development goes good enough, then one develops mature defenses. And these can be brought under conscious control to ward off anxiety. And these give us sense of security and well-being. We can use these defenses from time to time episodically, or these become part of our personality and we use it habitually and pervasively. Okay? So these characteristics are given in your book. So how can we classify defenses? So there are many classifications just to give you an idea that there are certain immature or primitive defenses. For example, denial, projection, splitting. These are immature defenses, okay? And there are less immature or neurotic defenses like rationalization, reaction formation, displacement, and so on. And then there are certain mature defenses like sublimation, altruism, humor. And we would be defining all these defense mechanisms. So one way to classify these defense mechanisms. So what is denial? Denial is refusal to accept reality because it is too threatening. And it is usual external reality. It blocks out painful or anxiety-inducing events or feelings. And due to denial, there is a reduction of anxiety by refusing to perceive or consciously acknowledge the more unpleasant aspects of reality. Okay? So a person has many disadvantages and side effects of drug dependence, but he denies all those things and he says that everything is going fine. So that is denial. Or a person comes with, ischemic heart disease, myocardial infarction, and he behaves as if nothing has happened. So that is denial. A person develops carcinoma of lungs and still he continues to smoke cigarettes. So this is denial. It's a common defense mechanisms, okay? Projection. We often project our inadequacies onto other people. So projection is attributing one's thoughts, feelings, and motives to another person. Usually we attribute our unacceptable qualities to other person, but we can project our positive qualities to other person also. So if I have a weakness or inadequacy, I would say that I don't have that weakness. It is in fact other person that he is having that weakness. For example, if I am jealous of a particular person, I would say that I am not jealous of him, okay? He is jealous of me. Or if I don't like a person, I would say that I don't, I like him, but he doesn't like me. So I would put my inadequacy to another person, okay? Projection. Splitting is not given in your book, but this is a very important defense mechanism, so I thought I should explain it. So here, different feelings or emotions or preferences are split off, okay? And at one time, we either see hatred or love. We either see that other are helpful or harmful, good or bad. So either a person is good or bad. Either a person is helpful or he is harmful. Either I like a person or I dislike a person. So at one time, we either see a good part or a bad part. This is splitting. So some people engage in, fantasy whenever they're having problems. To distract from their problems, they get symbolic satisfaction of wishes through non-rational thought. So, for example, a student who is failing an exam might, have fantasy that he has become a very successful doctor and a very famous doctor. Acting out is not given in your book, but this is a very common immature mechanism, which is direct expression of an unconscious wish or impulse in action without conscious awareness of the emotion that drives the behavior. So we often act out. For example, if I have an urge to smoke a cigarette, I would start smoking cigarette. If I have an urge to shout on somebody, I would start shouting on that body. Introjection, this definition is not given in your book. So introjection is that when a person internalizes the ideas or voices of other people. Okay, for example, most of us interject the opinions and rules, likes, dislikes of their parents. Okay, so we interject, and this interjection is the basis of identification which we have with our closer figures. So identification is unconscious assumption of similarity between oneself and other. For example, son can identify with father. For example, if father is a liar, then son would identify with him and would become a liar. Similarly, a student can identify with a teacher and would start behaving and acting like a teacher. And similarly, a patient can identify with doctor. So interjection is uh, internalizing some idea or voices of other people, and identification is unconscious assumption of similarity. Displacement is a very common defense mechanism. So we discharge our impulses or feelings on people less dangerous than those initially around the emotion. Okay? So if your mother has criticized you and you're feeling angry at her, uh, you would not displace your feeling onto your mother, but would displace it on your younger sister. Okay? Or if your teacher has criticized you uh, in class and you feel humiliated and angry, you would not vent your anger on your teacher, but would go home and would vent your anger on your pet. So displacement, that the emotion associated with one person or object is displaced onto another object or person. What is depression? Freud said that this was the basic mechanism uh, which the ego uses. So this is unconscious exclusion of an unwanted or painful thought, feeling, impulse, or memory from consciousness. So for example, if a person suffered emotional, physical, or sexual abuse, he would repress those events from his memory and would not remember those events. So the depression is exclusion of unwanted feelings, impulses, memory from the consciousness. A similar mechanism is dissociation. This is handling emotional conflicts by temporary alteration or impairment of consciousness, or identity, or memory, or perception. So in the next lecture, I would be talking about dissociative disorders, and we will be discussing this defense mechanism in a little detail. So there might be, psychological confusion or loss of memory or, loss of identity whenever there is a stressful event. So that is one dissociates because one cannot face the painful reality. Rationalization is a very common defense. Angur khate hain. So we unconsciously justify our feelings, thoughts, impulses, or behaviors that are unreasonable or unacceptable. Okay? So you might say that you're not attending lecture at 8 o'clock because you could not set the alarm appropriately. Or you can rationalize your other irrational behaviors by giving some excuses. So rationalization is a very common defense. Intellectualization. This is a defense which the doctors use very commonly. So in this defense, we separate an idea or thought from the emotion because the emotional reaction is too painful. So we might be analyzing the data of patients dying from coronavirus without showing any emotion. You might be working in ITC or CCU, and the patient, die regularly there, and you logically analyze the death summaries or the events without showing any emotion. So that is intellectualization. This is interesting defense mechanism, reaction formation. Reaction formation is unacceptable feelings disguised by the repression of the feelings and by reinforcement of the opposite feeling. So in reaction formation, we don't show the actual feelings, but we disguise those feelings by showing the opposite feelings. For example, if I'm angry with somebody, I would not show anger to that person, but I would become, very nice with him. So that would be reaction formation. So if somebody, is interested in women, he would not show that interest that I like women, but he would talk against women, that women are this, women are that, women are not, reliable, and this and that. So he would be showing the opposite feeling. Regression is that we revert back to an earlier stage of development, to our childhood development. For example, in a stressful situation, a person starts stammering, or a person starts to have temper tantrums, or would behave like a child. So that is regression. Now we come to the mature defenses, okay? Sublimation. This is transformation of unhelpful emotions or instincts into healthy actions, behaviors, or emotions, okay? For example, an aggressive person might opt for different sports like boxing, okay, or football. So he tries to sublimate his aggression into sports. So this is transformation of unhelpful emotions or instincts into healthy actions, behaviors, or emotions. This is a healthy defense, altruism, that we do constructive service to others that bring pleasure and personal satisfaction. For example, doing charity work. Repression is done unconsciously, while suppression is the conscious keeping out of unacceptable feelings and thoughts out of awareness. For example, if you are studying and some friend of you upsets you on telephone, you would like to suppress that discomfort to focus on your studies. Humor. You all know that when we are in stressful situations, we try to crack some jokes. So humor is overt expression of ideas and feelings that give pleasure to others. Humor. So that's a mature sort of defense. So these are some of the defenses, okay? There are many other defenses which are not given in your book, but there are many defenses. There are manic defenses, there are narcissistic defenses. There's conversion, there's undoing, and so many things, so many defenses. But no need to go into those defenses. And I would try to repeat these defenses. I would try to hello. So here is a case history, okay? Mr. A is a 45-year-old married with 3 children, CEO of a corporate firm. He has tested positive for HIV. He has often been traveling abroad and at times had exposure to unprotected sex there. What defense mechanism is he likely to use? So he has been diagnosed to be suffering from virus infection. Okay. So what defenses he's likely to use? For example, he might say, I'm a healthy and fit person. I cannot test positive for HIV. It's not a big deal. Situation could have been worse than this. So he's using the defense of denial. Okay? So not accepting the reality as it is. You might say, Western culture is a corrupt culture. I was spoiled by it. Doctors have neglected me. What is this defense? Can you write? Okay, so this is projection, okay? So he's projecting his weakness, his mistake onto Western culture and doctors. Projection. I am a terrible person. Other people are so good. My life has become hell. Others are enjoying life. He might say, I am unlucky, others are lucky. What is this defense? What is this defense? Okay, that's great. So this is splitting. This is splitting, okay? My foreign trips. What is that? It was my right to fully enjoy my foreign trips. What is this defense? So this is rationalization, okay? He's rationalizing his unacceptable behavior. So this is rationalization. He may confront and vent his anger at the laboratory technicians who diagnosed him and onto his family. What is this defense? So this is displacement, okay? He might be angry at the doctor or somebody else, and he's venting his anger on laboratory technicians or family. He does not like the doctor who suspected and diagnosed him suffering from HIV. His behavior, however, is very nice to the doctor. What is this? What is this defense? No. He's showing opposite feeling. He doesn't like, he's angry at the doctor, but He's trying to be very nice to him. No, no. Yeah. This is reaction formation. He's showing the opposite feeling, okay? Opposite emotion. Good. This is great. This is great. He may start to stammer like he used to do as a child. He may start behaving like a child at home. He might throw temper tantrums there. What is this? He's behaving like a child. This is regression, okay. This is regression, great. He gives detailed account of his life, travels abroad, and about his medical evaluation with little show of feelings. What is this defense? He's not showing any, no, please try again. He is describing the details without showing any emotions. No. This is just like that we doctors describe the death of a patient without showing any emotion. So this is intellectualization. Yeah, this is intellectualization, okay? This is a bit difficult to understand. He does not remember the sexual abuse he suffered as a child. What is this defense? This is a basic defense. No, this is repression. Yeah, this is repression. Good, very good. Repression. So exclusion of painful memory or feelings from conscious awareness, okay? Dissociation. He is talking about his travel abroad, but forgets about the details about his sexual activities there. Okay? So he has got loss of memory about that particular event. He is dissociating. And we would discuss it in detail in the next lecture. He starts taking exercise and socializing with friends. What is this defense? What is this? Can you hear me? So this is sublimation. This is sublimation. No, sublimation. This is sublimation, okay? Sublimation. He gives money for the charity. So he is engaging in altruism. So, hello? Hello? Okay. So here are some other examples. I am a very lousy student while my teachers are excellent. What is this? Anybody? No? This is making an excuse. अंगूर खट्टे हैं. This is rationalization, okay? This is rationalization. Rationalization of justification of, yes, this is rationalization. Justification of unacceptable behavior. I do not attend the behavioral sciences class as the teachers don't like me. What is this? Teachers of behavioral sciences don't like me. No. What is the previous was lame excuse. This is what? This is projection. The student might not like the teachers, but he is projecting this dislike onto the teachers that teachers don't like. So this is projection, okay? The student is projecting his negative feelings onto the teachers. Projection. I failed in pharmacology test. I went home and vented my anger at my younger sister. What is this? What is this defense? Displacement. That's great. That's great. I don't like my classmate Ahmed, but I try to be nice and helpful to him. What is this? Yes. Good. So these were some more examples. Okay. Now we turn to the present pandemic. Okay. What type of defenses we use in this pandemic? So I have written an article also, impact of COVID-19 pandemic on mental health. Splitting is seeing just one aspect of the whole picture. Either somebody is good or somebody is not good. Okay? So in splitting, you don't see the whole picture, just part of it. Either you love somebody or you hate somebody. So that is splitting. So let's come to the, okay. Now I would read the statements and you identify the defense, okay? I would not get it even if I continue to go in gatherings because of my immunity or faith or courage. What is this defense? What is this defense? Denial, okay. I dislike the patients suffering from coronavirus infection as they have put the community into trouble. What is this defense? This is splitting. Yes, this is splitting. This is splitting. Splitting. It's all China's, Americans, or pharmaceutical industries conspiracy. What is this defense? No, no. This is projection. Okay? This is projection. Yes, this is projection. Projection is closely associated with paranoid thinking, okay? Paranoid thinking. Conspiracy theories. I went out, I forgot that there was a lockdown. What is this? This is dissociation. Dissociation, okay? This is dissociation. I went out in lockdown because this is my right. What is this? Yes, I am rationalizing, okay? I am rationalizing. Good. I vented my frustration with the government onto my servants. What is this? Displacement, good. I very much like these challenges. No? Yes, this is reaction formation. This is reaction formation. Good. I have become excessively dependent, just like a child. This is regression. I keep on washing my hands many times a day. This is undoing, okay? This is done in obsessive compulsive disorder. Undoing. Okay. I have developed weakness in my left side of body and speech loss. This is conversion. A form of dissociative disorder. This is conversion. That I have channelized my psychological distress into a symptom, okay? Physical symptom. Life is all suffering. We just have to go through it. What is this? Life is all suffering. We just have to go through it. Yes, this is intellectualization. Very good, very good. You have now started to understand defense mechanisms, okay? I do regular exercise. What is this? Sublimation, okay? I do charity work. Altruism. I watch funny movies and share light humor with friends. Humor. So these are mature defenses, okay? Good, good, good. So we have so far described various immature defenses, and less immature are neurotic defenses and mature defenses, and we have tried to understand those defenses. Now keep in mind that everybody uses defenses, okay, from time to time. When we use these defenses excessively, okay, then these become problematic, especially the primitive defenses or immature defenses and neurotic defenses. So it's okay to use defenses from time to time because these help us in adjusting to the stressful situations and distressing feelings. Okay, let's move on. Grief, do you remember Kubler-Ross? So she described 5 stages whenever somebody, okay, you would be reading Kubler-Ross, okay? So when somebody suffers from a terminal illness, he or she uses these 5 stages, or whenever somebody undergoes grief, he or she uh, undergoes these stages, okay? First stage is denial stage. Okay, one denies that some loss has occurred. Then one feels angry, okay, say on doctors. Then third is bargaining. Then one prays or do charity that the news is not correct. For example, somebody has been diagnosed to be suffering from cancer, so he would bargain with God, okay, that please cure me from this illness, and I would, regularly pray and would avoid, sinful activities. Then is the depression stage, and final is the acceptance stage. Okay, these are the 5 stages, okay? Kubler-Ross, okay? So whenever there is a loss or grief, one passes through these stages. The sequence might not be, the same, okay? Might be different sequence, but these are the broadly, these are the 5 stages, okay? You need to remember. And if we divide this scheme into 7 stages and various defense mechanisms that we use, so whenever there is a loss, whenever there is a grief, somebody has died, okay, or we have been told to be suffering from a serious illness, first is shock and disbelief. There is numbness, okay, numbness. So that is dissociation, okay, numbness. Don't want to feel that. This example is given in your book, okay, grief and defense mechanism. Second is denial. Try to deny that we are suffering from a serious illness and somebody close to us has died. I just can't believe it, okay? Then anger and bargaining, and we use the defenses like splitting, okay? Life has become terrible. Doctors are, inadequate. They don't know anything. And we use projection, displacement, and regression. And at the same time, we might use charity for the bargaining purposes. Okay? So in anger stage and bargaining stage, we might be using multiple defenses. And we can have guilt, and we use a defense of turning against self. Turning against self is a mechanism where we feel anger at some close person, and when that person dies, we turn that anger against to ourselves. So that is turning anger against self, okay? Turning anger against self. And undoing is that we think that we did some mistakes, we hurt the feelings of the dead person, and we try to undo that by our good deeds. So reaction formation and rationalization and charity, we do that, okay? And then is the depression. We are using introjection, turning against self, and helplessness, okay? Then is the working through stage, and we are using sublimation, okay? And final is the acceptance. So we use different defenses. You can use these defenses in this scheme also, or you can use these 5 stages, okay? And you can say dissociation and denial in the first stage, okay? Projection and displacement in the second stage, and charity, regression in the bargaining stage, turning anger against the self in the depression stage, okay? So this example is given in your book. So why we use defenses? We use defenses because we cannot tolerate our feeling. We cannot tolerate the reality, and defenses help us to tolerate that reality and those feelings, okay? But there's a price to pay for these defenses. If we use defenses too much, excessively, and if these defenses become chronic, then we just cannot uh, enjoy life or have, success in our work, in our relationship, and in other areas of life, okay? So these defenses prevent us from the actual joy and enjoyment and satisfaction in life, okay? So how can we deal with these defenses, okay? So these defenses are hiding certain important events, our memories, our feelings. So these are serving some function, okay? And we need to gradually work through these defenses, okay? We need to gradually remember those events, our feelings, our impulses, and by remembering and re-experiencing those events, feelings, and impulses, we can, work through these defenses and feelings, and we can start to, enjoy life as it is meant to be. So thank you very much. Any question?